Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of Drafting with Dummies. Today we are looking at Tinkerer's Cube Draft. It is a time draft with 7 other players, and we don't get to keep the cards for this, which is unfortunate. We're not very familiar with Cube Draft, but you essentially have a bigger pool of cards from multiple sets, and we can take a look here. So here we have the card pool for the Tinkerer's Cube Draft. It looks like there are cards from all different kinds of sets, both historic and standard on Arena. We're going through the white, the blue. I'm not sure how they choose the cards for this cube draft, but there are certain synergies that we can look out for, and hopefully we'll be able to draft them. So it costs 4,000 gold to join, and the rewards are just gold and no gems. So if we can hit 3 wins or 4 wins, we'll still lose about 1,000 to 2,000 gold. So it's not a very profitable draft. If you were to do a quick draft, you would break even by 3 or 4 wins. So only if you hit 5 wins do you actually break even. But I think for this case, we will give it a shot and see how it goes. Because this is a player draft, there is a timer for each pick. And that worries me because I usually take my time when picking cards. Okay, everyone is ready. We have 8 players, so let's click ready. Alright. So we have about a minute and a half to pick our cards. Our mythic is a Rolex with a proliferate trigger. We have Sarkhan's Unsealing, could be quite strong if we have big creatures. We have Chandra, red planeswalker, create free elemental tokens. So not really sure which way to go. Rulers could be strong if we're going into +1/+1 counters, but we'll be tying ourselves to blue-green, which I'm not sure whether it's good on the first pick. I see Primal Empathy, which also has synergy with +1/+1 counters. So it's a Nyx Herald. Night of Autumn, also pretty good. So I'm not sure which way we'll go. Maybe Rolex would be our first pick. And we could consider Chandra as well. Although if we're going to red, then we'll probably a very weenie deck. Alright, let's go with Rolex. Let's see if we have any synergy with +1/+1 counters. We have a Hinterland Harbor, blue-green. Lockmere Serpent is a blue-black flash deck. Modifies good removal, so is Conclave Tribunal. So we don't really have anything great right now, nothing that ties in with Rolex, but maybe to be safe we can just pick a removal card. Conclave Tribunal ties us down to 1 color, white. So it's not as restrictive as Modify, which is black-white. Or you could go with this, put a +1/+1 counter on each other creature you control when it enters the battlefield. We could try that. Wow, so we have Yarok the Desecrated, which triggers, any triggers double up. So any additional +1/+1 counters will be double that. So very strong. Brokos is a mutate creature. Cartouche of String gets +1/+1 and trample, not exactly +1/+1 counters. Tanoff Rex is good for recursion, I think, because you can cycle the card away and then we bring it back. So maybe we'll just pick Yarok, blue, green, black. So we'll have to add black if we want to play Yarok. But right now it seems like it's the strongest card here. So what do we have? We have Bloomhawk, which is when it enters battlefield proliferate. great synergy for decks with +1/+1 counters. And it's also green. Sultai Discordant, we're not really in the green-white token deck right now, so I don't think we're gonna pick that. Runaway Steamkin would have been good if we had picked Chandra, because it's an elemental and it's also a good ram card for red. Loxodon, good for mono white decks, with mono white aggressive decks. So lots of choices here. I think we have to try and pick what's closest to our deck right now, because the cards are all so varied. Okay, we've got Overgrown Tomb, which can help to provide black mana. I don't think we're going red anymore. Spell Pierce, good counter for non-creature spells. This is also a great synergy of +1/+1 counters. You draw a card for each creature with a +1/+1 counter, right? So maybe 1 or 2. This is interesting. A card draws spell. Might go with Spell Pierce or Overgrown Tomb, or maybe Judge. Drawing cards is great, but I don't know if we want to sacrifice a creature. We could leave it there and hope it comes back. Incubation Druid, good for +1/+1 counters. It can tap to add 3 mana, and it can adapt itself as well. Destiny Spinner, creatures can't be countered, and lands become an XX elemental creature. So X is dependent on the number of enchantments you control, so that's important. Oh, Merfolk Skydiver. Okay, put a +1/+1 counter on a creature you control and you can proliferate. I think this ties in the best with our deck. Incubation Druid is also very good actually. So very tempted to do this as well. But Merfolk Skydiver, 2 mana for 1/1 flying that can proliferate. I think we're going with that. So nothing here in blue-green that is linked with +1/+1 counters. Supreme Will as a conditional counter spell, maybe. Not much other choice. Or Perilous Mire. When it dies, deal 2 damage to any target. It's okay, but 2 damage might not be enough for Cube Draft where the creatures are so big and powerful. Alright, so let's go with Supreme Will. What do we have here? We have Untamed Kawu that can come and kick with +1/+1 counters. Not bad. Fauna Shaman, discard a creature card to search for another creature. Erebos I don't think ties in with our deck because you need Devotion. So I could take Fauna Shaman. Okay, we're back to our first pack. We have Primal Empathy is back. So we're gonna take this because it adds +1/+1 counters or we draw a card, so I think that's pretty good. Woodland Cemetery would have been great as well. But we currently only have 1 card with black, which is Yarok, so I don't know how often we get to use that. Interland Harbor. I think that's best. We need some mana fixing. We could go with Dowser of Secrets, but we're not in a prowess deck. Or Ten of Rex. Recursion if we have it. A Cartouche. Alright, let's do a Cartouche. It's kind of a removal. Nothing much here. We have the Harpy, which is a mill version. Let's just take the Steamkin away. Roots and Foreboding Fruit. Not too bad. We can consider it. Oh, Bubble Snare, okay. And the ticket. Alright, so what do we have here? Second pack. We have a Triumph, green, black, white. We have Aerialist, which can get +1/+1 counters, but only if you gain life, so not our kind of deck. Draenei. Well, this is actually pretty strong. Flying first strike. And when you use combat damage to a player, put a +1/+1 counter on each attacking creature you control. So pretty good, I would say. We will try it. Nylia, we need devotion to green, which is not good. We don't have that. Create a 6/6 worm creature. Risk to redeem, create tokens. Chain Web can escape with 3 +1/+1 counters, so not too bad. But we might have to take something different. Maybe we need card draw, Charter Course. Or we could go with the Chain Web Arachnia. Alright, I'll go with Charter Course. Wow, there's a Planeswalker, Calyx, Destiny's Hand, synergizes with enchantments. We're not really doing that, and we're not playing white. Fabled Passage looks great, we might need that. Oracle of Maldaya, you can look at the top card of your library and play lands off the top. Not really a land deck, so not looking interested in that. Enter the God Eternals is Dimir. We could play it, and it's in our colors, but I'm not sure if black is going to be a problem. So we go with Fabled Passage. I think we need to fix our lands. Cetacean Champion would have been good with Calyx, but it does add a +1/+1 counter to him. So how many enchantments do we have? 1, 2, 3. We have 3 enchantments, so not too bad. When it enters the battlefield, for each kind of counter, add another counter. Interesting, so it is a bit like Proliferate. I feel like trying this out actually. Anything here in our colors that has +1/+1 counters? This looks interesting. Each other creature comes in with a +1/+1 counter on it. Alright, Renata. Blood Artist, whenever any other creature dies, lose 1 life, gain 1 life. Good for black-white life gain decks, but not really for us. Murmuring Mystic is usually in blue-red prowess decks where they cast lots of instants and sorceries. Alright, we'll go with Renata. Body Double, what is this? Enters the battlefield as a copy of any creature in the graveyard. I realize we don't have much removal spells. Chainer's Edict might be one. Gem Razor. We might have to go with Chainer's Edict, as we are lacking in removal spells. Temple of Mystery is good for our colors, but we have 2 removal spells here, which I think we need to have. Oh, this is interesting. Tasa, to blink creatures and return to the battlefield. I don't think we need Mesmerizing Bandit. Croissant Tusker, you can search your land for a basic land card. That's very big. I could go with Ozolith. Alright, let's go with Ozolith. What do we have here? We have Agonizing Remorse to discard cards. Alright, Agonizing Remorse it is. Okay, the Chain Web came back. Well, we have a tap land or a mana dork. Or you could go with Enter the God Eternals. Nothing much here, we just take away this. Or should we just take this? Alright. Dragon Skull Summit. Create a treasure token. Alright, third pack, the last one. What do we have? We have Dead Weight, simple removal card. Ovia Pashiri to create tokens. I think more in a green-white deck. Merfolk Branch Walker explores. We can get a land or put a +1/+1 counter. Unfortunately, Dracusev is not for us. Back for more could be a recursion. Doesn't sound too bad. Alright, we're gonna back for more. Oh, lots of big cards here. Divine Visitation is amazing for green-white tokens. We have first Iruan Games, put 3 +1/+1 counters. Then we can draw 2 cards. Kroxa is great, but not in our deck. Recursion, I don't think we need this. Command the Dread Horde. So I think it's either between Simulacrum or Iruan Games. Nicol Bolas, wow, Grixis. Unfortunately not in our colors. Bragmore, okay, green-black. Comes with 3 +1/+1 counters. This might tie in nicely. Kiora also looks good, but I think Gragmore is the one. Song of Freyalise, also very good. Wow, I might take Song of Freyalise. What's this? Rashmi. Whenever you cast a spell, reveal the top card. You may pay it without paying its cost if it's lesser. Doesn't have to do with +1/+1 counters, but it's like a cascade. Fine and Finality. Drown Catacomb. This might be good for us. What do we have here? Patient Rebuilding is for mill. Emery is for milling artifacts. Swarm Shambler, Gonti. Or we could go with Ferricus Libation. Sacrifice and creature. Well, we're running out of time. The player draft is so fast. Alright. Middles of Illuna to copy, but we're not playing red-green, so not so great. Nothing much here. We only have Terramanda, probably. Oh, we have a couple of counter spells. Didn't say Please or Sinister Sabotage. Embodiment of Agonies. I think we might go with counter spell. Aha, Saga of Triumph. Exactly our colors. Well, there's only Dead Weight here and Witching Well in our colors, so I think Dead Weight it will be. Shackled Guys, not really for us. Foulmire. Alright, we'll take the Command and Dread Horde. Okay. Bragmore came back. And Rashmi came back. Although we could go with Castle Ventress. Memory. All red here. And I didn't say please. And that's the end of the draft picking. Alright, so now we can take our time and build our deck. I'm wondering if we really need black, because having 3 colors makes it more difficult. Okay, so I don't think we need 2 counter spells Yarok says that if a permanent enters with a triggered ability, Yarok says if a permanent entering the battlefield causes a triggered ability of another permanent I control to trigger, it triggers another time. So we have to see if this applies to many cards, otherwise I'm not sure how useful it will be. Ozolith allows us to put any +1/+1 counters on it onto Ozolith and then transfer it on later on. So it's good if there is a board wipe and all our creatures die, but their +1/+1 counters are put on Ozolith, and we can transfer that to another creature later on. It is quite annoying when you're playing against it. Okay, I don't think we need Terramander because we're not so heavy on instants and sorceries. So Witch Guild Tusker fits in very nicely with Yarok. And so with Renata as well. So I think Yarok is a definite must-have. I wish we had taken some of the dual lands, the green-black dual lands. Overgrown Tomb and Woodland Cemetery. Those cards would have been great to even out our mana base. But we do have Hinterland Harbor, Drowned Catacomb, Fabled Passage, and a Triumph. So it's not the worst. Now we have 47 cards, we still have to cut down to 40. Let's see what does not tie in so well with +1/+1 counters and proliferate. Foreboding Fruit, I think we can get rid of that. Song of Release can help us tap for the right mana, and it does put a +1/+1 counter on the third stage, so it could be a finisher. So let's bring out our so-called removal spells, anything that is direct removal or semi-removal. So we want to see how many we have in the deck and make sure we have enough to deal with the opponent's creatures or permanents. Supreme Will as a counter spell I think can go, we'll just rely on Sinister Sabotage. Libation is also a removal. Back for More is like a 6 mana removal, but you must have a creature big enough in your graveyard. So I won't put that in. Enter the God Eternals, also somewhat of a removal spell. Cartouche of Strength, fight mechanic. Alright, I don't think we need Charter Course. We have quite a lot of card draw mechanics in built in with some of the other cards, such as first Iron Games. Hopefully we can draw 2 cards at stage 3. Primal Empathy, we can draw a card if we control the biggest creature. And Armorcraft Judge. And Armorcraft Judge can also help us to draw cards for each +1/+1 creature we have. So we're currently at 44 cards. Let's look at our base. We have lots of non-creature spells, so I think we have to get rid of non-creatures. Alright, maybe Agonizing Remorse. Currently we have 6 types of removal spells. Lots of it is dealing with creatures. Only the Libation can somewhat force the opponent to sacrifice an enchantment. So we didn't take this Titan of Rex. Okay. I wonder if Back for More is any good because we don't have any really big creatures. Tusker is the only one, 5/5. So I might remove Back for More. Alright. We need to get rid of a couple of non-creatures spells. Perhaps Song of Release is not the right card for us, because we don't have that many creatures. Although it does put +1/+1 count on each creature you control. So if we can proliferate, that is very good. Rush Me perhaps? Not great. Oh, we could stick with 41 cards. Alright, let's try that. These all look too good. Okay, so we're gonna play a few games. This could end very badly for us. We could end up with 0 wins and get just 3 cards for 4,000 gold. We'll see how it goes. This is very new to me, and looking at the power level of the cube draft, it could go either way. So let's see who we get. Okay, we have a very bad opening hand with 2 swamps and lots of green or blue cards. So we definitely have to mulligan this. Alright, the lands are better now. We have all 3 colors. And our cards are low casting costs. We could go with... we have to put 1 at the bottom. So I'm thinking Song of Freyalise we'll put at the bottom because we don't have lots of creatures, so having this trigger off on the 3rd stage is not that great. Opponent goes first. Alright, no first turn play, which is I think good for us. Let's put down the Triumph Tact. Oh, Fauna Shaman, double green. I think we have to get rid of that very soon. Still on mono green with 3 forests. Which card puts a +1/+1 counter on itself. It can tap for green mana. So I'm thinking we either cast Gragmore first or cast Primal Empathy to help us draw cards. Okay, I'm gonna go with Gragmore. Looks like the opponent is also using some kind of +1/+1 synergy because Khan's Bastion can proliferate. Okay, so he killed my Gragmore and we get a 3/3 creature. We're stuck on 3 lands. We could kill off the... We could trade off with Rishkar by using Cartouche of Strength. But I'm not sure if that's what I want to do. I think we're gonna cast Primal Empathy. And next turn we'll get a +1/+1 counter on it. And if we're lucky we can cast Warbriar Blessing and fight with Rishkar. Alright, hope nothing from the opponent. Oh, he finds his black mana. We are not going to block this. So we get a +1/+1 counter on it. So I'm thinking we do bubble snare this. He has the choice to proliferate with the Bastion to give it a 5/5, so even if I use Warbearer's Blessing, it's not going to be enough to beat him. So I'm just going to attack. And we'll see what he casts. Hopefully he doesn't proliferate on Rishkar, and so we can draw a card, because I think we really need more cards right now. Our lands are very bad. Okay. He uses Spark Harvest to sacrifice his creature and to destroy our own creature. Thankfully, we draw a land, so now I can cast Bloom Hulk. Unfortunately, there's nothing to proliferate. But if we draw a land next turn, we can either cast both Cartouche and the Blessing, or cast Rolesk. Lord of Extinction, wow, 7/7 equal number of cards in all graveyards. Okay, so we do draw a card from Chain Web Arachnia. Unfortunately now, because it's a 7/7, he gets to be the biggest creature on the board. Okay, so I'm thinking we cast Blessing, fight with the Harpooner. Because Cartouche is not enough to beat the Extinction. So the good thing about Arachnia is that it can escape. So if we exile 4 other cards, we can bring Lord of Extinction's power down. So we'll do that. Cycles another card, gives it trample. Interesting. And wow. Yes, that is a big creature. So if we don't draw something big, we're not going to win. So we can't escape. What we can do is just try and stall him off. If we cast Rolesk and put the 2+1/+1 counters on him, we might be able to stay alive. Oh, we have to put on him. Okay. I think he didn't realize that he could attack and proliferate, and that would give. Alright. So we draw a land, nothing much to shout about. So if we attack, it's not going to matter. Because we only deal 13 damage, we can't do anything else. If we attack with Rolex next turn, he can kill us pretty quick. So it becomes a 14-14. Will we be able to kill him off? No, we need some kind of... Okay, we're not looking very good now. He can proliferate once now, and on his turn another time. He creates a 3/3 token. Draw a card for each creature. Okay. Draw a card for each creature you control with power 3 or greater. So he drew 2 cards because he has 2 creatures. So now we have a choice to put on 2 different creatures. Unfortunately, we just draw a land. We're flooding out. So we can't even attack yet. If he has a removal spell, we're dead. Cast Great Henge. Great card draw for him. He also has a Gratmore. That's bad for us. He's going in for 13-13. So we have to double block this because we have no other choice. He has Trample. He decides to kill Rolesk. I'm surprised. Allows us to proliferate twice. And we keep drawing lands. Okay, we drew a God Eternal into the God Eternal. It might help. The question is, do we have enough? We have 6-7 mana, not enough to cast both. But I think we do want to get some creatures on the board, so let's just cast Enter the God Eternals. Target the player, mills 4 cards. Okay. Let's just attack. Try to force him into a corner. Erebos has no devotion. Whenever another creature you control dies, may pay 2 life, and he may do draw a card. He can sacrifice a creature to give another creature -2/-1. So he only has Gragmaw to sacrifice, which I don't think he will do. And he's only give another creature -2/-1. So not very significant. He's going to attack. He can proliferate, so I have to block this, otherwise I'm gonna die. So it kills my zombie token. I get to draw a card, hopefully. It's another land and another land. Wow. Alright, I think he's going to sacrifice. Yeah, he's going to sacrifice it to create the 10. Well, I can proliferate first to give it 11/11 and then sacrifice it to give my creature -2/-1 to become a 9/12. But it's not enough to beat my creature. Oh, it becomes a 12/12. So not great. So I'm going to just escape this. This is pretty tense, as befitting a cube draft game. He's going to attack, and I am forced to block. And I draw another land, so we're flooding out. Yeah, so Erebos can definitely kill me off. We have no choice but to block. We get a skydiver, not exactly. It was too late actually. Yeah, we did. Because if I cast skydiver, he can use Erebos to kill it off. And so we just did. Alright, next game, good game. It's too bad we drew too many lands in a row. Must have been like 5 lands in a row. Alright, let's go again. Against SG 2010. We have a Triumph, but we don't have any small creatures. So I think I have to mulligan this, even though we have the Triumph as the starting hand. Okay, this looks better. I'm not sure what to put off. We don't have double green, which is a problem, so maybe this will have to go. Animation module. +1/+1 counters on permanent you control, and you pay 1 to create a token. So it generates more tokens on other permanents. So we have drawn 2 of our biggest creatures, 5 casting costs. Is this an artifact deck? Alright, let's just bring the green in. Well, we're not able to cast anything right now. It's unfortunate our 2 hands have not been very good. We put down Hemilsis for 2 lands. Enter the God Eternal. Again, no lands, so we're in bad shape. Cast a Scavenging Ooze. Okay, we drew our 4th land, but we can't cast Renata, unfortunately. And I don't want to cast Armorcraft Judge because it doesn't do anything at 3/3. So I might just have to ooze the guy. Opponent has a Root Bound Crack for red mana. So 4 color deck is doing better than my 3 color deck. Cast Renata. Well, we drew our 3rd Swamp, which means we can cast Yarok. We scry to the top with Treasure Map, which means it's something pretty good. Kills off my Yarok with Vicious Offering, -5/-5, sacrificing his Scavenging Ooze. Oh, we don't have many cards left actually. Okay, there's no other choice but to cast Armorcraft Judge. Counters it. So, oh, he has his own Yarok. Interesting. So with another Ashiok, he's gonna -1 and get me down to 5 cards, and that's pretty much game because we're not going to be able to turn this around in 5 turns. Right, so I think this is a quick defeat for us. We'll go on to the next game. Okay, so probably this will be our last game. Whether we win or lose. Facing off against Tangerine. Okay, we're going first. At least this time we have a decent opening hand with 3 lands, just 3 different colors. We can cast the Arachnia on turn 1 and maybe the Brakmaw on turn 3. So let's hope it plays out well. Alright, we go with the Forest and the Arachnia. Evolving Walls. Swing in for 1 damage. Let's see, brings in a Forest. Double Forest. Alright, I'm going to cast Brakmaw, and next turn we can hopefully cast Armorcraft Judge to draw a card. Wow, Champion of Lambholt. Alright, I think we need to deal with these guys. Unfortunately, we're down to our 2 cards left compared to the opponent's 5. We need to draw more cards, hopefully. Alright, opponent concedes. So at least we get 1 win from these 3 games. The first 2 games were... well, first game was close. We almost won, if not for drawing 5 lands in a row. The second game was much worse. We couldn't get our mana base right, and the opponent just milled us to death. So Cube Draft, it is a very high powered format, and anything could happen, very much like Omniscience. And because it's a player draft, you're also under a lot of pressure to pick your cards quickly. As you saw earlier, we didn't have much time to pick the cards that we wanted. And unless you're very skilled with the archetypes, you may not know which card to pick at the start. And that could create a disadvantage. So it's unlikely that we'll get to recoup our gold spend in this event. I would still recommend Quick Draft for getting gems. I would still recommend Quick Draft for converting gold to gems, and that way you can build your collection faster, and the power level is probably not as high as Cube Draft. Well, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed the content. Please subscribe and like our videos, and we will get more weekly MTG content for you.